So it's really just a long-term lead generation, if you think about it.
So the big question is, what are the top agents doing to absolutely crush it in real estate, grow their teams, and add more transactions year over year while so many struggle? If you ever thought about this, you're not alone. No one has been able to get the answers until now.
We spent the last few years helping agents sell billions in real estate, rubbing shoulders with top producers, which got us thinking, how can we expose more people to these insights to help raise the standard in the whole real estate industry? We then realized that we could help bridge the gap by getting the secrets from the best of the best so that you can succeed. My name is Andrew Dunn.
And my name is Peter Michael. Welcome to Elite Agent Secrets.
Hey everyone, and welcome to this episode of Elite Agent Secrets. Today we've got Brandon Witt with us, and Brandon is an absolute rock star, and he's super relatable to, I'm sure, a lot of people listening. He actually has a full-time job as an account manager for a chemical company, and he is a part-time real estate agent. He's been doing it about a year now, and he's already managed to do 19 transactions, which is pretty damn insane. So we brought him on to really expose how, if you're wanting to do real estate and you want to do a bit of a transition and you're still doing full time and, you know, all the stuff along that, how it's kind of possible and how he's found success. So Brandon, thanks for jumping on with us today. And we're looking forward to kind of opening this box of our can of worms.
Absolutely, guys. Thanks for having me.
So let's start out with the beginning. So it's only a year ago for you, but obviously you've been in full time. So many people who are listening to this, like so many, are going to relate to this. I mean, there's 2 million realtors and probably about 1.95 out of a full-time career. And then, there's a select few who, really do crush it. We've obviously interviewed some amazing ones, but I think this is a phenomenal story to have done 19 transactions in your first year part-time. So let's unpack that. A year ago, why'd you get into real estate? Do you hate your job?
Well, that's the hard thing, right? Is that I don't. And that's why I'm still in it. So I'll take you back to like the very beginning, just tell some people a little bit more about myself. So my name is Brandon Witt. I grew up on Long Island. I went to the University of Delaware, where I majored in environmental engineering. And I graduated in 2013. Even though I got that degree, I've never practiced engineering. I've never really done much with that degree, which I think a lot of people in the sciences take some time to figure out where their niche is and how they're going to use that kind of degree. Once I graduated, I moved into Wilmington, Delaware, and I lived in an apartment for about 2 years. And then I bought my first house when I was 24 years old in 2015 in Wilmington. And I got into house hacking, which now everyone kind of hears that buzz term and knows what it is. But back then, I didn't really know what I was doing and what it was called. All I knew was I had this big house with 3 bedrooms and it was just me. So I looked at these rooms and I'm like, well, how do I fill this? I don't really need a home office. I don't need a guest room. No one was coming to visit me. And so it was through actually conversations with my dad, who was like, hey, why don't you just ask your old roommate to move in with you and he can, pay you. So it started out, I had some friends living with me. Over time, there's turnover. They moved out and I used other sources like Craigslist and other websites and Facebook groups to get people to move in. And I was there for 2 years. And then that allowed me to, 2 years later in 2017, move into Philadelphia. And I basically rented out that Wilmington house full time, moved into Philly and did the same thing, and I house hacked. And I did that for about 4 years, taking us up to current day, where I just bought a third place, also in Philadelphia. And I did a similar model where I rented out fully my house that I was living in previously. And I actually kept a lot of the people I was house hacking there with. So my roommates' tenants just became my full roommates, and they're still there. So it worked out really well. They're great guys. I trust them. They know the house. They're close by. We have a great relationship. And yeah, that's kind of how I got to where I am now in terms of my story. And then bringing it back to, real estate, it was through those experiences, owning a house, being a landlord, investing in those properties, also having things like equity investments and new development, new construction in Philadelphia, that I was just around real estate so much for myself, but I wasn't doing it, professionally. And I wanted to make that transition. And I had thought about it for a long time because I do like what I do. And I'm an account manager for a industrial chemical company, very large corporation. And I've been there really since I graduated college. But it was something where I felt like I had enough time after work to go and do that side hustle and do it consistently and do something well. So after thinking about what you could do on the side, I decided to get into it. And it was actually during quarantine and the pandemic where I was super bored watching way too much Netflix and just said, I want to, do something productive with this time where I'm all cooped up. So that's the time when I took the classes all online. I took the exam, I picked the broker and I got started. So it's great timing with this because last week was my 1-year anniversary since I got my license. I didn't really start doing business or doing transactions until like January. But in terms of when I got my license, it's like exactly the 1-year mark. So spot on.
Dude, and that's crazy because I've known you for a long time, right? Like we used to live like 3-4 blocks away from each other. So I know this house hacking thing that you're talking about, all of our circles. We always talk about house hacking. I've never had the ability to do that because I got wifed up very early on. And congratulations for you for actually not being able to house hack your new house because your girlfriend would probably be very upset with you. But it's amazing to see that transition because ever since I've known you, whether we did network marketing previously or whatever it was, you've been very efficient with your time and your time management. I mean, before we got on and pressed live on this podcast, you were like, I've only done 19 deals. And I'm like, don't discount that you've done 19 transactions. I don't care if they're buy, sell, rentals. We're talking about an average real estate agent does not do more than one. I think it's like 1 or 1.5 deals per year. So you being part-time, having a full-time commitment, being an account manager, which is definitely requires a higher level of responsibility, right? At your profession per se. And you still have the ability to manage all of that effectively and efficiently to close those, offer the exceptional customer experience that I know you're delivering to your clients. But really, you're also building the future pipeline, right? You're building a pipeline for the future where now it's like those people eventually are going to be looking to buy. The people that you've sold to, they're eventually going to be looking to sell their house, upgrade their house. And who are they going to go to other than you? Right?
Yeah, exactly. And I think doing rentals it's kind of a weird space within real estate. Some people looking for apartments don't even know that they can use an agent and have that agent in their corner to find the place for them, negotiate for them, help them through the process, all that stuff. And when you find people, through these different channels that I have, they're like, oh, wow, I actually do need that, right? I'm so busy looking at all these options. There's like thousands of apartments throughout the city. Which neighborhood should I be in? And especially I've had a lot of good experiences with people moving from a different state into Philly, right? They don't really know where they should be. They kind of want to be close to work, but is that a safe neighborhood? Is it close to the subway line? All those kinds of things.
We hear that all the time. Oh, I don't want to live in Point Breeze. There's gunshots there. I'm like, anywhere you go in the city, there's going to be gunshots there pretty much, right? You get gunshots in Red Houseville, Rittenhouse. So one of the things that, why didn't you shy away from rentals? Because everyone's like, oh, I don't want to do rentals. Like rentals are really just frowned upon, right? And you're the first one that we are having on the show where where you're like, dude, I love rentals.
Yeah, so I like them for a couple different reasons. One, like you said, you're building a pipeline, right? So all the people that I've helped are going to be soon coming up on their 1-year mark where their lease is up and they're going to either decide to re-sign, look for another place, or potentially buy. And if I can be there just to help educate them and say, hey, look, depending on their financial situation and all those things, the different loan programs that are out there, the different first-time homebuyer programs that are out there. I can tell them about, hey, you at this point could actually move into a place that's your own. You don't need to keep paying rent, and you could make this, your investment for the long term. And again, just having the people who I worked with now know me, they trust me, I've given them great service, and we can have that kind of a conversation. So it's really just a long-term lead generation, if you think about it. But then in the short term, rentals are pretty fast. They're posted about 60 days out from when they're going to turn over. And usually you, as a landlord, you would want to know about 45 days before the end of a lease that you're going to have that new person. So they're constantly coming up. They're obviously, more affordable in the short term for people to get into because they don't need as much money down. But it is a great way to work with people and educate them about that process. The other really good thing is that they are quick. So sometimes when you're working on buys and sells, it could be a 60-day close. It could be longer than that. And there's still tons of work no matter which one you do. But you have that as kind of like this monthly hit that you can just keep that train going and make that income. And then it's almost like two different income streams within just being a real estate agent. You have the quick hitters and the long hitters. You might be working with one client for 6 months before you find the house for them, right? So these are much more quick and transactional, but still a decent amount of work. And of course, the service to both sides.
See, the thing is, like, you're really playing the long-term game, right? And it's like you just said that you have your 1-year anniversary. Some of these people also have their 1-year anniversary at their rental. They may very well be looking to buy now. And now a year later, you're a lot better equipped to also walk them through that process. About the tax abatements for new constructions that are in your city, right? Like in Philly, about all the different grants, first-time home buyers. Now you have some lenders. Now you're a lot better connected. Some inventory that is coming up based on the people that you're plugged in with, which means now you can service those people even at a higher level. And one of the interesting things that I think a lot of agents miss is they're looking for the low-hanging fruit. And ultimately, you have the lowest hanging fruit by doing rentals. You have people that already know you, love you, trust you, respect you. You've got them into the house. They spend money with you, aka you probably got compensated, right? A month's rent or a half month's rent when you got them in the first time. And now you're able to buy with them. So one of the other things that I think a lot of agents miss is the LTV of a client, and that stands for long-term value. It's not just the $2,000 that you made on that transaction. It's going to be the commission that you make on helping them transition into being a homeowner. Then it's going to be another transition where you help them into upgrading, downgrading. We know that people move on average every 3 to 5 years, right? 5 to 7 at the latest, at least 3 to 5 times in their lifetime. So that one client very well could be worth, just from their specific transactions, about 30 to 40K. And I'm sure you also got some referrals from your rentals. Have you not?
Oh, for sure. Yeah. I'm helping one girl that I helped. It was her and 3 other friends. I got them a place. And now the person she's dating, I'm working with him. Right. So it's very much referral based. And I want to go back to something you said about the commission. So typically for a rental, you would get on the buy side 50% of 1 month's rent, on the sell side 50% of 1 month rent. Right. So in order to make this worth your time, you do kind of need to have like a minimum. Like, I'm not going to go and find a place for someone for $500 a month and then I make $250 before splits and taxes, right? That it's just not worth the time. So you do need to establish what you want to do with that.
I love it. I love how you bring that up because a lot of agents miss that. So continue. What does that criteria, those requirements look like?
For me, it's typically a $2,000 a month rent. Right, because then if I'm on the buy side, that would be $1,000 to me, and then splits and taxes. Right, so that's worth it enough, and I can do 2 to 4 of those a month, and then that helps make it all worthwhile. Right. The other thing, Peter, that you said that someone's paid me. So just like in a regular transaction, the seller pays the commission. The landlord pays the commission for rentals. So when I reach out to someone and I'm going to represent them in a tenant or buyer capacity, I'll say, look, my service is free to you. So you can either do it on your own or I can do it for you and you literally pay nothing. So if you want to attack it from just that price angle, I mean, you can't beat it. There's obviously a lot more to my value proposition than just it's free for you. Like I'll do the service, I'll negotiate for you. When there's multiple applications, I'll be there, in front of the landlord saying why you need to be picked, all those things. A lot of times, if the tenant's doing it on their own, they reach out to a landlord, they get no response. I email them, and in 5 minutes, I have a response. So it's all those things combined. But when you're looking for long-term value, long-term lead sources, it's a great place to find them.
Do you know one thing I just thought about as well? You were just doing those numbers. I was kind of just crunching some numbers in my head. I think what's crazy, I'm going to use your numbers as an example. Let's say you do 4 a month at 2K a month in rent. You take 50%. So you're taking $1,000 per rental, right, for month one. So you're getting paid $4,000 a month, right? There's 12 months in the year. That means you're making $48,000. Last time I checked, the average realtor in the whole of the United States makes $44K, which is low. You're saying part-time, just doing rentals, not doing all the buy-sell shit and having to do all that headache, you're making more statistically than the average realtor who is potentially full-time is making whilst enjoying your normal job that I'm sure you get a healthy salary from too. And those numbers are kind of astounding when you think of it from that perspective.
Yeah, I mean, you break it down and the math is the math, right? Now, whether you hit 4 deals every month, maybe you have 1, maybe you have 6, right? Or anywhere in between. But when you define how much you want to make per transaction, because with rentals, I could show 6 places and maybe none of them work out, or I could show 1 and basically for a 1-hour car ride home and back, I'll make $1,000, right? If that one place that we look at ends up being the one and they apply and they get it. So yeah, I mean, I've done 19 transactions my first year in real estate. Those are buys, those are rentals, those are representing landlords, those are referrals, those are all different things that you do as an agent and all different experiences that I think it's been great in year one. And those, you can either do 19 or I could have done 3 deals and made, whatever amount. And what would you rather have? 3 clients or 19 clients?
What roughly do those 19 correlate in GCI? What do you reckon you've made just from real estate in the last year?
I want to say it was like 16 grand.
16,000 in GCI. Got it. From 19 transactions, you've basically made about $1,000 per transaction.
Yeah, and so some of those have come in the beginning when I was honestly just desperate for clients, and I didn't really set this floor about $2,000 until probably 6 to 8 months in. But a lot of I think my first commission check was like $213, right? It was like nothing, but I just wanted to get it out of the way and have the class paid for, have all those upfront expenses paid for. And then it was like, okay, well, now I can change up the strategy, do it to my liking to make it worth my time. Because again, I'm a part-time agent, and go from there.
I think that's where people miss the fucking boat. Everyone is they're watching the $1 million listing on HGTV, thinking they're going to come out of the gates, swinging, making $100,000, $200,000 or whatever, they think they're going to make per year. And they're discounting getting their fees, getting all their shit paid for, making a little bit of money, being able to kind of transition from the job that they hated. Now they're not even giving enough time to real estate because it's like, oh, this thing sucks. Where do I get leads from? And that's what I find very impressive, Brandon, is because I've seen that transition of, I remember when you got your license, you hit me up. You were like, dude, just got my license. Super excited. And for you, it wasn't about the money because you understood the math behind your time multiplied by your effort for the long term and building your empire part-time, right? So one of the things that, people are like, well, I want to do this full time, but they're not willing to do what it takes to even like have them consider this being like a business, like a full-time business. Like when you have a job, you have to show up at a certain time, you have to do certain things, and then you clock out, whatever, right? You have some kind of accountability and responsibility. With real estate, when you get your license, you don't have any of that. If you want to show up at noon, great. If you want to show up at 9, go to the office, great. If you want to wear whatever you want to wear, great. Like there's nobody there telling you otherwise. Now, some people will tell you, you need to dress to impress. You need to be at the office at 6 a.m. And that's how they get successful. That's cool.
Hey, thanks for listening to this episode. Now, before you go, we're giving access to a private training we did where we revealed the top 3 niches to get listings today completely for free. So if you want access, you can go and download that training at eliteagentsecrets.com. We're regularly releasing new trainings, guides, and cheat sheets, so make sure to head over to eliteagentsecrets.com and sign up so you don't miss out.